Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amalia Luxardo, and I am the CEO for the Women's Foundation for the state of Arizona. I am so happy that you took time out of your schedule to join us today. Some of you have been with us for the last 30 years as the Women's Foundation for Southern Arizona, and some of you are new. I am thrilled that all of you are here to join us and learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we're moving the needle for women and girls across the state. I am joined today by Emma Fryer, who is our Chief Strategy Officer, who's going to talk a little bit more about our history, our mission, vision, values, and then we'll talk a little bit more about our impact and what all of this means for our work. Take it away, Emma.
Thanks, Amalia. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for being here with us today. It is absolutely a thrill to be here as the Women's Foundation for the state of Arizona. We have, as Amalia mentioned, been working in Southern Arizona for 30 years now. And the time was right to expand our scope. We'll talk a little bit about why that is just in a few minutes here. But over the last 30 years, we've evolved from a scholarship fund founded by two women from Tucson named Melody Robidoux and Harriet Silverman into an organization known for tackling big inequities through our integrated and community-centered framework. Through research, advocacy, grant making, and leadership development programs, we have been working really hard to achieve equity for women and girls and to eliminate systemic barriers to progress and to really seize on opportunities to increase the income and assets of women and girls. Our work has really been mostly here in Southern Arizona with a few exceptions, which you'll hear about a little bit later. But really at this moment in time, after watching the pandemic destroy decades of momentum for women in mere months, we felt that it's essential that we scale the rest of our work to impact women and girls across the whole state. I am sure you'll have seen some of the data that came out in the last year and a half after COVID, but in the first month of the pandemic, women had lost 20 years of progress in the workplace. And by the end of the year in 2020, that was up to 30 years of progress lost. And so while our geography is expanding and our brand is evolving, our commitment to gender equity remains. Our vision as the Women's Foundation for the state of Arizona is an Arizona where women and girls of all identities thrive. You'll be hearing a little bit more about this from us in the coming days and months. But when we say women and girls, we mean all women who identify as women. Anyone who identifies as a woman or a girl is included in the scope of our work. And our mission is that we innovate to create social, political, and economic change that achieves equity for women and girls in Arizona. We have 5 organizational values that really serve as our sort of guideposts for the work that we do. Number 1 is that we are unapologetically mission focused. We focus on women and girls. We know that everyone needs to be involved in the work. Other genders, of course, are part of the work that we all need to do together. We know that at different moments in time, different people and causes need to be prioritized. And we're committed to making our vision a reality through community-centered action. We are rooted in truth. So this really ties into our research. Research is a really big part of what we do as an organization and what guides us. But we also know that there are people behind that data and that the experience of people as well and those truths in combination with the nonpartisan research and evidence-based approaches that we use are really at the heart of our work. Our research isn't just data, it's actually vetted by people in the communities we serve who have lived those experiences and can validate the findings. Our third value is that we are centered in humanity. Whether it's talking about staff or the people that we serve or the partners that we work with, we really value the whole person. Again, I'll use research as an example. we're really thoughtful about the fact that there are real people behind data points. So when we create change, when we create new programs, we really look at a holistic approach. And for staff, we really prioritize things like self-care, a healthy work-life balance, flexibility, professional development, and general well-being. So we really like to stay centered in the humanity of ourselves and each other and the people that we serve. Our fourth value is that we are led by lived experience. We must have women and women of color and marginalized gendered individuals leading the way and leading the work. The experience that comes with living as a member of a marginalized community adds layers of essential knowledge to professional qualifications. And this is internal and this is also external for us. We trust our grantees and our community partners to inform us of their needs and to tell us how we can serve them. And finally, we are transformational in aim and approach. We look for bold solutions to big problems, and we seek to achieve long-lasting systemic changes with innovative approaches. We want to change the way that philanthropy is done. We want to bring equity into that space more so than it's been before. And we are determined to remove the political, economic, and social barriers that have perpetuated inequity for far too long. At this point, I would like to hand it over to Amalia, who is going to talk about a few of the kind of big achievements in the last 30 years and then to do a deeper dive into our work. So thank you, and over to you, Amalia.
Thanks so much, Emma. So I want to talk a little bit about our work and some of the things that we want to highlight here. Over the last 30 years, we've distributed nearly $20 million to organizations in Southern Arizona that serve women and girls. Our pillar here is to have worked with organizations that increase the income and assets for women and their families. Our aim is to break that cycle of poverty for families and make sure that once they are off public benefits, for example, they don't need to turn back. And so we're really proud of all of the organizations that we funded in the past through our annual grants program and have been able to make such headway for women and girls here in Southern Arizona. We also more recently created a pilot program known as Pathways for Single Mothers. And that program provides wraparound services for women that are receiving public benefits through DES and are eligible for child care subsidy. And what that does is allow mom and now all parents in Arizona, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but it allows mothers to go to school full time while still being able to receive the benefit of child care subsidy from DES. And we've also provided emergency stipends to cover housing, utilities, transportation, anything really that normally is an impediment for mom to be going to school. As we know that parents are not one-dimensional human beings. There's a lot of things that come with being a parent, with being a human and being part of that human experience. We all worry about several different things, and we wanted to make sure that these families had no concerns and that mothers were able to solely focus on the well-being of their children and being able to attain the education. In conjunction with this pilot program, this year we passed a bill, HB 2016, that now allows parents across the entire state to be eligible for this sort of benefit. And so parents, not only here in Southern Arizona, but in Central Arizona and in Northern Arizona, who are on DES and are currently receiving child care subsidy benefits, are able to choose whether or not they would like to continue being employed at a part-time rate or go to school full-time in career tracks that we've identified that are going to be successful in Arizona for the next 5 years, and that they've demonstrated through our research that pay more than double minimum wage, which is tremendous here. And so really our philanthropic institution is really untraditional in that sense, where we want to be an incubator for our community for programs, demonstrate that they work. And once we've proved that these are programs that function in our communities, we work with our nonprofit organizations to take that on and they can scale that at a sustainable capacity. This year, we also launched the first statewide Women and Girls of Color Fund. It is the only Women and Girls of Color Fund in Arizona. This is for nonprofit organizations that are led by women of color who serve women and girls of color. We are incredibly proud of this fund. We know that we cannot achieve gender equity if we don't consider racial equity. And so as we move forward as a Women's Foundation for the state of Arizona, we understand that that intersection is so important, and we must look at both of those things in combination in order to achieve equity for women and girls in the state. So we have 4 strategic priorities that guide our work. I know that Emma talked a little bit about our research. We also innovate through our programs and our leadership development. We also do advocacy over at the Capitol, and we invest through our annual grants, our Harriet Silverman Small Grants, and now through our Women and Girls of Color Fund. So I'd like to talk a little bit about our advocacy work. We've already been doing advocacy work that has impacted women and girls and largely their families throughout the state of Arizona. We are so grateful for the network that we created here in Southern Arizona. Those are the voices that have been able to help us move the needle and the past couple of pieces of legislations over the last several years. And we're just really thrilled about the opportunity to create a powerful network with voices coming from the rest of the state. We're going to be inviting all of you and members from the 15 counties to join an advocacy coalition. So please look out for that information if you're interested in participating with us. As far as our research goes, research has been an integral component to our work. It's one of the things that has been able to make us successful, specifically at the Capitol. Our work is rooted in nonpartisan research. As Emma mentioned, that research is then vetted by the community here, which lends itself and gives the voice of the community to those data sets. We want to make sure that when we're doing the research, it's not just the numbers, but that it's actually true to the folks that live in our community, because data can only go so far. So we seek to identify what are the largest economic barriers for women and girls in Arizona, and that's what's informed that in conjunction with our nonprofit partners, what informs us to make change at the legislative level for women and girls across the state. Our overarching goal with all of our strategic priorities really is to move the needle for women and girls and make systemic change. I also do want to mention that we have right now a self-sufficiency standard for Arizona that was last updated in 2019. We're really excited that we're going to have an updated report available next spring, but that's an interactive tool that's available now on our website. And so what that does is when you put in a family configuration into that tool, it essentially, what it returns to you is the bottom line of how much that family needs to make in order to be successful. So if you are a nonprofit organization out there that potentially provides case support and works around workforce development, and you're interested in knowing, well, how much does this family need to make in order for them to never have the need to be on public benefits, that is the information that it's going to be providing there. I will say it is a livable wage, which we at the Women's Foundation differentiate between a livable wage and a worthy wage. And so I just wanted to flag that for you there. But again, it's a very useful tool for those of you that are involved in that sort of work. And we're also going to be building a coalition with folks across the state and with the Federal Reserve to start doing research on the benefits cliff, so that once parents are in a livable wage job and for some reason they need a buffer with the Department of Economic Security on public benefits, they're able to still access they will be able to access some of those resources without losing everything for their families and still look towards growing in their career. As far as our grants go, we've been taking the learnings over the last 30 years with the nonprofit organizations that we've had here in Southern Arizona. We're going to continue to partner with nonprofit organizations that serve women and girls that focus on the work of increasing their income and assets. And our approach really is not to slice the pie thinner and stretch ourselves thin as an institution, and by no means give out less money to organizations, because we know that there is a huge need and there's a large gap to be filled. But our overarching goal is to bring more resources into Arizona so that we're able to give out more to organizations, not just in Southern Arizona, but across the state. We have a very specific focus with rural communities, and we'd love to get to be invited to those communities and be in touch with folks in tribal nations as well. We are here to learn, to serve, to listen. And so if you know of any organization that would qualify for this sort of funding, we'd love to learn more about them and see how we can help. As far as our programs go, many of you know about Unidas. It's an after-school philanthropy program for young women, where we teach high school women about philanthropy. Essentially, they choose a social justice issue that they believe is having an impact on women and girls in the community, and they go through the entire process of what we know in philanthropy of an RFP. And so they get to know nonprofit organizations that are addressing that social issue. And then in the end, after going through applications and interviews and getting to know their community, they choose a nonprofit organization they get to fund to. And what they do is every semester they give out $5,000 to the nonprofit organization that where they see is filling that need. What we're really excited about now as the Women's Foundation for the state of Arizona is that we'll continue to have our chapter here in Southern Arizona, but we're going to be scaling this program so that it's available for young women and girls across the state. And our aim is to make this first statewide cohort virtual so that there is accessibility to participants. We talked already a little bit about the Pathways program, and what I wanted to highlight here too is that we have the opportunity to scale this statewide. And so we've proven that it's something that works here in Southern Arizona. We identified the 33,000 single mothers in Southern Arizona. I know based on our research that there's so much more across the state. And so we are going to be working with nonprofit organizations in Central Arizona and in Northern Arizona that have the capacity to take something like this on and really work with them in partnership to scale this program across the state. And lastly, around development, we're really, really grateful for all of the generous donors that have been with us for the last 30 years, for the folks that are joining us now and helping us build out this infrastructure so that we can extend our impact to women and girls across the state. I want you to know that we are really excited about what's to come with our specific philanthropic giving. We've got plans to do everything and use a DEIA framework, which I'm really excited about. We all need to understand that we are all philanthropists, no matter at what giving level or where you are, who you are, or where you are living. And I think that's something that's incredibly important and that I've learned really quickly over the last couple of years. And so please know that you can support us from anywhere where you are in the state. And even if it's not a financial gift, we'd love to connect with you again to participate in some of our advocacy work or as a volunteer with any of the activities we do. So thank you again to everyone that's been with us as far as our generous donors go. And I look forward to meeting more of you in that capacity. What's coming up next is a statewide tour. And given what's been going on with the world and what continues to go on with the world as far as the pandemic goes, really the state of affairs, so to speak, is what's going to tell us as to whether or not some of these meetings are going to be able to be in person and virtually, or a combination of the two. So at the heart of our work, as we mentioned before, is knowledge. And no one knows better what the community needs than the community members itself. We are not here to self-impose our work or to tell community members what to do and what works best for them. We know that different regions of the state operate really differently and have different needs, and there are different gaps that we could help fill should we be invited to do so. And so what we're going to be doing over the next several months is really leaning in on listening and really leaning in on the community to inform us, again, should they choose to invite us into their space, as to what those needs are for women and girls and how we could potentially help in order to move the needle in that particular community. So please look out for some of those virtual events. You'll find a lot of that information on our social media and our website. The other thing that's happening this week and over the next several days, if you go onto our website, there's a women's issues survey that is up. You'll see it as a pop-up page and there'll be a link. It's open to every Arizonan. It's hosted through a third party, so you can be comfortable and know that it's anonymous. We're not going to know who filled things out. And then we're going to do a report, as we do with our research, and share it out publicly in December so that all of you know what our data points show and what the community is telling us as to what's important to them and where we could potentially be headed next. Again, if you're interested in getting involved, please send us an email. It's right up here, getinvolved@womengiving.org. Oh, Emma is joining us again. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm actually not controlling the slides, so I'm not sure what's coming up next. Oh, a big thank you. So that was perfect timing. Anything else that you think I missed, Emma, that you think you'd like to add?
I think you've really covered everything really well. I want to thank everybody again who's joined us today to learn more about the work. And I really hope that each of you watching will find a way to engage with us. This is only going to have a really big difference if we have the collective power of advocates in the state of Arizona and people who share our vision of an Arizona where girls and women of all identities can thrive. And so we're just really excited you're here and excited to work with you moving forward.
Thanks, Emma. Thank you so much, everyone, again, for joining us. We look forward to hearing from you. Our website has all of our emails available. And so, if you're interested in getting involved or getting in touch with myself or any one of our staff, please feel free to reach out. We are here for you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.